Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Today we're going to start off a new series where we're going to look at famously known characters in the Warhammer fantasy universe that have still not been implemented in Total War Warhammer. We'll look over some basic lore, their rules on the tabletop, and how they could be implemented into the Total War Warhammer series. Today's character is Valkia the Bloody, so without further ado, let's begin. To familiarize this character with people who might not be aware of her, we'll read over her entry into the Warriors of Chaos 8th edition army book, which goes as follows. There is a legend of a cruel but beautiful warrior woman who is the consort of Khorne himself. Her violent deeds are watched over by her battle-hungry patron, and it is said that those who earn her blessing will fight in the halls of the Blood God for all eternity. Her name is Valkia the Bloody, and she was returned from the dead to further the work of Khorne. Once the fell queen of a great northern tribe, Valkia rose to infamy by decapitating anyone foolish enough to question her right to reign. This pleased Khorne greatly, for Valkia dispatched many minions of his brother gods. One such individual was Lokifax, an unimaginably perverse demon prince of Slaanesh. Struck by the queen's cold beauty, the leering demon prince suggested that Valkia would be better suited to life as a slave girl than as a monarch. The warrior queen did not take kindly to this. Taking up the spear Slofnir, she flew into a berserk rage. They dueled for days, but ultimately, Queen Valkia was triumphant. From that day forwards, Valkia enjoyed great favor in the eyes of Khorne. The Gore Queen meant to slaughter her way to the northernmost point of the world and cross through into the realms of chaos, personally placing the head of Lokifax at the base of Khorne's throne. She nearly fulfilled her quest, but before a year was out, her corpse joined the thousands of others littered across the hell-stained realm. Khorne raged at Valkia's passing, and his fury was so thunderous that it awoke her from death. And, taking her in his claws, Khorne reforged the queen into a form even more pleasing to him. Valkia returned to the mortal world, a vision of destructive power. Every new dawn, she descends from the skies, taking more skulls for her diabolic paramour, and choosing those who will fight on in the realms of chaos after their death. The Warriors of Chaos fight all the harder in her presence, for it is said that the Gaze of Khorne lingers about her still. Many champions redouble their efforts, knowing that the Blood God despises cowards, and will strike down those who flee, whilst others see a chance to gain his attention on the field of slaughter, knowing that to become one of his chosen is a prize beyond measure. So, as you might have guessed from this small tidbit of lore, Valkia is the Warhammer fantasy interpretation of the Norse Valkyrie. And while indeed that did make her quite unique, she also stood out amongst the followers of Chaos, mainly because she was a female character, which was very rare in the lore of Chaos, much less so when in regards to Khorne the Blood God. For that, she instantly became a fan favorite, and it also did help that her stats on the tabletop were quite good, boasting a high weapon skill, decent strength and toughness values, and a healthy amount of attacks. She could be used for killing characters in challenges or as a unit destroyer. There is a chance that she could be implemented into the Total War Warhammer series, and due to her lore, she could either fit in the Warriors of Chaos roster or that of Norska, seeing as Wulfric the Wanderer and Frog the King of Trolls were both Warriors of Chaos characters that were regulated to Norska. Personally, unless Norska gets a bit of a change in playstyle, I'd prefer that she join the Warriors of Chaos roster. So how could Valkia be implemented into the Total War Warhammer series? Firstly, let's look at some special rules. She would naturally have fear. This makes sense as she is the consort to the Blood God after all. And obviously she would get access to a Mark of Khorne skill without needing to spend a skill point. But here's where things get a bit more complicated. You see, Valkia the Bloody had access to the Fly special rule on the tabletop. She was one of a very few select characters who could fly without the use of a flying mount. The wings kind of give it away here. Right now, we do have another character in the Total War Warhammer series who has wings but cannot fly, Malagor the Dark Omen. However, I do believe that was due to limitations when creating the Beastmen, so it could be possible that in the third and final game of the series, this could be changed. I don't believe she'd be able to fly straight from the start of a new campaign. Instead, she'd have to unlock it via a skill point, as if it were some sort of mount option. I could be wrong here, but it just seems like some sort of balancing thing. She has a special rule known as Consort of the Blood God, which goes as follows. If Valkia the Bloody is required to roll on the Eye of the Gods table, do not roll any dice. Instead, she is always counted as having rolled for Slaughterer's strength. The Eye of the Gods table does not really seem like a possibility for Total War Warhammer 3, so instead I would see this rule translated into a different way. Seeing as she is the consort of the Blood God, this special rule should allow her to recruit basic Khornite demons, possibly Bloodletters and Fleshhounds of Khorne. Nothing too great, but enough to give her own personal faction its own flavour. Her last special rule is the Gaze of Khorne, which went as follows. All friendly units within 12 inches of Valkia the Bloody re-roll failed break tests. However, any friendly unit that flees whilst within 12 inches of Valkia the Bloody, for whatever reason, immediately suffer d6 strength 6 hits. This could be translated into a buff with some negatives. Say for example, she should be able to buff up the melee capabilities of her units, where the units would receive a fairly high temporary boost to their attack damage, but take damage over time because of it. This would represent the Embrace of the Blood God. Now, Valkia the Bloody has 3 special magical items. The Spear Sleipnir would give her the armor-piercing special rule. In addition, on any turn that she charged, the spear would confer +2 strength and the Killing Blow special rule. Armor piercing is easy enough to translate, and for the rest I imagine that she would have a self buff which could increase her melee attack damage and her weapon strength. Next would be the Demon Shield, which would obviously give her an armor boost, and on the tabletop also reduce the attacks of nearby enemies by 1. So in Total War Warhammer it could be that the shield itself could reduce melee attack damage to anything directly hitting her or in a very close range to her. And lastly would be the Scarlet Armor, which gave her a very high armor save but would also reduce the strength of nearby enemies. This could be implemented to reduce weapon strength instead. As you can see by these items, it's very obvious as to why Valkia was such a good character killer on the tabletop. And finally, how could she be introduced into the series? Well, obviously, as part of either the Warriors of Chaos or Norsca, she would fall under the DLC for DLC section. Lore-wise, she's had engagements with various races, the Imperial Province of Nordland, the Dark Elves of Nagaroth, where she led a bloody campaign during the End Times, the Dwarfs of Karak Gurg, and even other Chaos Warriors such as Lord Mortkin, a Chaos Champion of Nurgle. All those are races from Game 1, so it doesn't look likely that we'll see 2 races from Game 1 being implemented into a DLC for Game 3. It could be possible that we could get a Warriors of Chaos Khorne DLC versus a Demons of Chaos Slaanesh faction, but even then, that's 2 evil factions taking center stage. Creative Assembly haven't really done that before, so it doesn't really seem likely. In my opinion, I see Valkia the Bloody being implemented as either a FLC Legendary Lord, or if the Warriors of Chaos rework, is its own DLC faction pack, where instead of race versus race, we'll get 4 legendary lords for the Warriors of Chaos, 1 to represent each Chaos God. But of course I could be wrong here. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and let's start a bit of a discussion. But with that, my friends, we come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various different social media links such as Facebook, Instagram and Discord, where you can get in contact with a great book team. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games, where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Using our special link and also our special code, both of which can be found in our description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A special thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Pence and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Hewell and VSVasan for subscribing to us at our Fane level. Honestly, I can't thank you guys enough for the support. It really means a lot to me, especially since all the money earned from Patreon goes directly back onto the channel. New webcam, equipment, microphones, and so on. And a big thank you to all of you liking, sharing, commenting on these videos. Honestly, I'm really enjoying creating this content and chatting to all of you guys about speculation, new content, and so on. It's absolutely awesome. It's been nice to make a few friends along the way. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and I shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.